ShotCast.
Alrighty, we're here, ShotCast episode 10. You believe that, Lang?
I believe it, man.
We're in double digits.
It's great.
We're in fucking double digits right now.
I love it.
10 episodes deep.
It's exciting, man. It's a pleasure.
10th episode. Honor. We're in cold December in Detroit, Michigan, and today we're here to talk to you about setting your goals for the new year. Perfect timing to do it. The year is about to end. We got to set some new goals, right?
A decade's about to end, man.
A decade's about to end. But today we're here to talk to you about goals and setting your goals. It's a very important episode here for anybody that wants to set goals for the new year's. I truly believe that we shouldn't wait for the new year to set goals, but it is a good time to refresh. I definitely do refresh my goals in the new year. Remake, look back on what I accomplished, what I didn't accomplish, cross off what I accomplished, celebrate what I accomplished.
No doubt.
And then what I didn't accomplish, it's important to go deep on those topics as well and find out why didn't I accomplish it? What were the actions I took all year to get there? Did I revisit it every single week, every single month, or whatever it is? And then reevaluate how I'm going to attack the next year. So I think it's an important topic today, and we're here to talk to you about, setting your goals. What do you think about that?
Yeah, listen, I think that a lot of us wait on the new year because, hey, the new year is going to be different. The new year is going to be better. I'm gonna do this and I'm gonna do that, and I agree with you. It's probably not something that should wait to the new year. You got a day tomorrow. You got a day the next day. You got a day next Monday, and I'm assuming you want those days to be successful. So waiting on January the 1st or the 2nd when you're going to put some resolutions down on paper, man, I would say you missed a couple weeks. And you know what? There'll be a time in your life where you wish you had a couple weeks. So I agree with you 100%. And goals are wider than all outdoors. There's so many things to talk about goals. Everybody wants to talk about goals. Mm-hmm. I think I had a class in high school about goals or expectations or something like that. So it's been talked about for a long time. But I really think everybody is different. And listen, at the end of the day, you have an opportunity. We all have an opportunity. And what you're going to do with that opportunity is really what it's about. And setting goals the right way for you, the right way that will push you to do more and reach a higher potential is really what it's all about.
Yeah, no, I definitely agree with you. And the thing that kills me the most is when people wait to set their goals, just like in the Rocky movie. Yesterday we set tomorrow, Rock. That's what I always think about when I set goals. And I think it's important to set goals right now, but if you don't already have goals for this year, it's important to set small goals first to reach them. Once you reach those small goals and you see that it's actually, you have potential to hit those goals, that's what takes you to the next step. You got to believe it first and see it first. So first thing I'm here to tell you is you don't got to wait for the new year to set goals. Number one, you should always have goals in your life. I've said it in a lot of podcasts that I've done. If you don't have goals, you're driving in life blind. You got to have an end goal. You got to have direction. You got to have a compass of where you're going in life, or else what are we really doing here? Are we really just trying to stay stagnant in our lives? So the first tip I have for you is, what is your compass? What direction are you leading in right now? Where is it taking you? Do you even know where it's taking you? And if you don't, you got to rewrite that stuff down and get down to your purpose like we talked about before. It all starts with your purpose in the middle, and the goals start aligning right after that.
Yeah, listen, I think you're right on the money, and like we just talked about, there's no reason to wait for the New Year's. But at the same time, we don't want to hate on it either, right? So it's a time where, you think about strength in numbers, right? I believe that if you can get 10, 20, 50, 100 people going in the same direction, it's going to be tough to stop you. So guess what? On the new year, you have millions of people that are going to set a goal. So why not get involved in it? And strength in numbers, you might be able to inspire yourself. You might be able to inspire others. You might be able to learn inspiration from somebody else that set a goal that you want to set or you want to achieve as well. And so I wouldn't hate on it either, but I agree with you 100%. There's no reason to wait. But here's what I would say regarding your goals. And I ask people, and I might even have said on this podcast before, what are you fighting for, right? So if you think about a fight, how long does it last? We get 30 seconds, a minute, I don't know, If you're Mike Tyson, you can last a few rounds, but you got to do a bunch of road work to get there. So if you're truly fighting for something and you want something, and even think about the word desire. Like, how often do you use the word desire? Like, if you desire something, and you really want it. And so a lot of times there are bigger things. And I ask this question, what are you fighting for? And people say family, and people say retirement, and people say money, and people say success, and people say being number one. And while those things are important, they're the bigger goals that are in the background. The reason, the one way that I believe success happens through setting goals is if you set smaller goals. And you mentioned it just a few minutes ago. But to me, you got to be able to reach and touch and taste and feel your goals, because they need to move you today. If you say, I'm fighting for early retirement, man, that's 30 years from now. How is that going to create action today? So my expectation for myself, and I can't say I've knocked all my goals out of the park. I'm a human being. But if you want to set goals that you can achieve, and then parlay those goals into more goals and into more goals, you got to set 6 monthers or 3 monthers or 6 monthers or 9 monthers, because those are the ones you can touch, feel, and taste. And the cool thing about those shorter goals, smaller goals is that I can feel accomplishment. Yes, you're going to have some disappointment along the way, but most of us, I believe, have 9 or 10 true accomplishments in the world. You graduate college, you bought your first house, you had a baby, you have 9 or 10 of those if you're just floating through life. I believe life would be amazing if you had 28 or 29 of those bad boys. And so just think, it's got to start somewhere. So if I set a goal for 3 months from now, and it's not anything super crazy, my iPhone is dropped, it's got the spider web look on it, like many of the iPhones that I see around the office. So, but you're in a contract for 2 years, right? So if you go in and you try to get a new phone or Apple's going to ask you for $1,000, $1,100, $1,200. What if you had 12 crisp 100 Blue Boys with the blue stripe in it, and they said, you know what, you're still under contract, so, and you threw the $1,200 down before they even finished talking, just because you could? Or what if you want to fly first class instead of coach, just because you can? Those are small wins and small accomplishments that, hey, I got this. Now I'm going to move on to the next one, and the next one, and the next one. And before year's up, you got 4 or 5 in, and you start walking around thinking, hey, you know what? If I set a goal and I do the things I'm supposed to do, I'm going to achieve it, as opposed to waking up hoping this is my lucky day.
Yeah. And now that I'm thinking about goals, I mean, prior to 2015, I never set goals. I didn't even pay attention to goals. I never really talked about goals. I got a book called Think and Grow Rich. I'm sure you probably read that one, right?
Yeah.
Think and Grow Rich is a lot about the law of attraction and writing things down and keeping them in front of you. And I joined this new career in the sales company in 2015 as well. And that was the first book that I read. And we had an activity in the company where we wrote a letter to ourselves called Welcome to 2020. And at the time, I was just, a salesperson in this company. And I wrote a letter to myself in 2015 called Welcome to 2020. Now, while I wrote this letter, I didn't believe that, I'm going to write these down, they're going to come true. I was just doing it because I had to do it. It was an activity in class.
To do it, yeah.
But I said, if I'm doing it, I'm going to take it serious. So I took it serious, and I closed my eyes. I said, what do I want to happen in 2020? And I wrote down a bunch of things in this letter to myself. And one of them was becoming a leader in 2020, getting promoted, finding, a girl, getting a house, all these kind of different things that I wrote down. And the crazy part about this story is I ended up accomplishing that 2020 list midway through 2016.
Wow, man.
I set goals for 5 years, and I accomplished them in 1.5 years. And I'd say for 80% of that 1.5 years, I read those goals every single morning. I read that letter for 2020 because that's one of the things in Think and Grow Rich. It says read them every single morning. And I actually had it in my notes on my phone, and I don't know if you know, there's a little trick on the iPhone where if you just put your 2 fingers like this and scroll down on the screen, Siri will read you your notes. So every single morning, instead of reading it myself, I just put in the headphones and I'd have Siri read me that letter. And I ended up accomplishing everything, midway through 2016. And then started listening to Tony Robbins and got into motivation. And then I was extremely into my goals. So for a lot of people out there that don't believe in their goals, my first tip for you would be at least write down what you want to happen in the next year. That's the first step you have to do. At least write it down, put it in front of you. And when it's in front of you, it starts opening up doors because it's just on the top of your mind, Think of that compared to you not thinking of them at all and not doing any actions at all, not reading them at all, and not even thinking about them at all. Nothing in your life is going to connect to that. We talked about this in all the podcasts. Everything connects, right? So that was the first step for me, and I accomplished them. Now, as I went down my journey and I started doing this Acez Motivation channel and the top 10 takeaways, I read a book called Stick With It. You ever read that book?
I have not.
It's a book about, accomplishing goals and how to stick with your habits and how to actually stick with a goal that you create. And in this book, it talked about step ladders. And step ladders, it's a formula. It's like a stick, and it has your dream at the end. Then it has your goals in between, and then it has little side steps to get there. And the way it talks about this is, it says, if your dream is to be a Spanish teacher, for example, okay, that's your dream. You put it all the way at the end of the spectrum, right?
Okay.
Because you can't say I want to be an expert at Spanish and then just become an expert at Spanish. There's things that you got to do to get there. So the dream is to be an expert at Spanish. The goal would be to memorize the Spanish language, right? And then the actions, the steps that you take, the ladders that you take to get there is number one, read a Spanish book, listen to Spanish audio, be able to talk the full language in Spanish, be able to say the alphabet in Spanish. So these are little steps to get there. So the way it taught you how to break down your goals is, it starts with a dream all the way at the end. And then it has goals in between. And then in between those goals, it has little steps that you will hold yourself accountable to get there. So I started doing that with my goals, and I started putting it together for my goals and what I want to do. For example, if I want to be a healthy person, number one, how do I define being a healthy person? Maybe to me that means being 230 pounds. Maybe to me that means being shredded, right? That's my dream, to be a healthy, shredded person. The goals in between is how do I get down to 240, then 230, then 220. And the steps in between is what do I eat? How many times do I work out? Who do I talk to? How do I hold myself accountable? So you got to break down your goals like that. So a lot of people fail at goals, and I believe the reason why is they throw this big dream out. I want to save $100,000 in 6 months, or I want to lose 20 pounds. But then that's all they throw out, and they're like, okay, I made my goal. I put it on paper, but nothing happened. Well, it takes a lot of things to get there. So my advice for you is if you want to accomplish a goal, do it in the step ladders format, which is put your dream at the end, put your goals in between, and then put daily actions every single day that you're going to take to get there. And then revamp and refuel and recheck on these goals every single week and ask yourself, how am I doing on the action items? How am I doing on the goal? Am I getting closer to the dream? And if you're not, change things up. And you're going to keep changing things up till you find the right formula to win.
Nice. Yeah, listen, I like I said, their goals are big as all outdoors. There's so many different ways and so many different thoughts and so many different theories and so many different videos and about goals. And man, you can almost get inundated with it to where it's not super exciting. And so I'll tell you two things about it, or about goals in general. Number one is, and this is not a new thing, if you've been watching this podcast, you're going to hear this, I don't know, I'm not ashamed to say it every time,
ShotCast.
is ShotCast. Damn it. You're talking about the share part of it. And
well,
listen,
I'm saying share it with yourself first.
I'm with you. And I agree with that. You got to start somewhere. But again, there's strength in numbers, right? So many of us have thought, man, this person ain't like, I'd give all this, but I'm not getting back anything. Or we do some of those things. But the problem that I think occurs many times is we haven't shared what we wanted. And so, yeah, the person would help. They would spend some time patting you on the back or cheering you on as you go through the race. But you never really shared with that person that you care about and cares about you what you really want. Like, I'm talking about tears in your eyes, the vein popping out of your neck, how much you want something. You haven't shared that. But if you did, I guarantee people would step up for you, because you know what? You step up for people in the past. The problem is we don't really communicate what's really important to us. I had something happen to me at work. I hope I haven't said it on this podcast before, but if I did, then it's the second time. It's really important to me. There's a gentleman that's going to quit. He tried to quit before. Somebody talked him back in. He tried to quit again. Somebody talked him back in. Eventually, somebody threw him on my team because we had really good culture. We had some superstars that really cared about the other folks on the team, and I was proud of that. And so we brought him over to my team, and he did really well, 6-7 months. But you know what? At the end of the day, this wasn't for him. And it was kind of a precursor, him trying to leave before, and somebody talked him back into it. So he pulled me into a room. He kind of caught me off guard. And he said, Lang, I'm quitting, and don't you try to talk me back into it, because somebody already did that. I said, okay, man, what's the deal? And we tried to walk through it, and we just figured out this was not his thing. And so I said, okay, I'm not letting you leave unless you give me a piece of feedback, some advice, something that I can take with me so I can do better, so I'm not having this conversation with the next person again. And he said, okay, Lang, I'll give you that. He said, listen, everybody loves you, Lang, and we'll do anything for you. We'll run through a wall for you. You know what the problem is? You stopped telling us where that wall was. And man, I never forgot that. That's probably 10 years ago that I had that. And so what that meant to me was, I don't know if I got complacent or I got comfortable, but I stopped talking about what was important to me, to people that I care about. Because when I did talk about things that were important to me, that to people that I care about, they stepped up. They made sure things got done. And he would have done it too, but I stopped talking about it. So I didn't share what was important to me, which tells me sharing your goals is 100% the right thing to do. Now, most of us want to fail in private. We don't want to fail in public. So we won't share them, because if I don't hit them, then you won't judge me and whatever. But again, and I'm sorry if this is something I've talked about before, but I feel that strongly about it. If you really want to achieve some goals, you got to share it with the people that you care about. And I mean to the detail. Don't say, I want to lose weight. How many pounds? By when? This week, that week, this week. Like, that's how people can help hold you accountable. And it matters. And once you put it out there, you don't want to let people down, man. So you'll step up and do things. Just like you, who told me you're on to something new, and you hit me up last night and you said, help hold me accountable to this, right?
Yeah. And I got that from you as well. And I think it's very important to also note that sometimes you're going to fail at your goals or at your system at your action items, you know. Sometimes you're going to fail at them. And a lot of people, when they fail at them, I failed at my goals, it's too late. Like, it's not too late. I still fail at my goals sometimes. I just told you last week I failed at my goals. Right?
Yep.
I wasn't as healthy as I wanted to be. I wasn't going to the gym like I wanted, and I snapped out of it. And I went to the gym today at 4:30. Woke up 4:30 in the morning. I was there at 5 o'clock when they opened the doors.
Proud of you.
You know, thank you. And I did that because it's okay to fail, but what's not okay is if you don't get back on that horse and ride again. You got to keep going for it and going for it and going for it, and just reevaluate and change things. There was nobody in life that was successful or that won anything without failing. So some folks are scared of failure. Mm-hmm. We talked about this before. Scared money don't make don't make money. So I'd say that you can't be scared of failure. You're gonna fail at some things, and when you fail at some things, you got to reevaluate. And one thing that you could do to reevaluate is write down those goals every single morning. Every single morning when you wake up, rewrite your goals. Rewrite them and say, what am I doing right now? What am I doing today to hold myself accountable to get into this bigger picture goal? And break it down into small steps. And if you win at that day, you celebrate the small wins. And when you celebrate the small wins, you tell people, I won today. I went to the gym this morning at 5 in the morning. I did the miracle morning. I felt great. Well, guess what? I want to do it again tomorrow now because you're propping me out for it. I had a good day today. I feel good. I still feel good right now. It's 10 p.m. right now, and I was up at 4:30, and I still feel good. Because I'm accomplishing something, I'm getting closer to my goals. And I'm telling you, that letter I wrote in 2015 with everything being accomplished by midway 2016, I wasn't lucky. I just believed in it. I said, you know what? If I'm going to do something, let me try to believe in it. Let me believe what this book tells me to do, and let me see what happens. And then it's crazy, man. The more I research all these successful people, that's what they do. They keep their goals on the top of their mind. They tell everybody about them, and they keep executing at the small action items to get them to those goals. Now, on the other side, what drives me crazy is folks with no goals. And I was one of those people before. Before 2015, I was one of those people. And I'll tell you right now, if you're driving in life with no goals, you're not revisiting them, you make them one time and you don't come back to them, I'm urging you to make it a ritual. Make it a routine and start visiting those goals every single day. And be serious this year about your goals, because the law of attraction works. You put it in front of you, it's going to come true.
Yeah, so I'll tell you a story about LeBron James. You might have heard of him, even if you're not a basketball fan. I hope you heard of him.
Oh yeah.
But a few years back, LeBron James helped win for the Cleveland Cavaliers the first championship in any of the major sports for Cleveland: baseball, basketball, football, and hockey. I don't even know if they have a hockey team, but that was the first championship ever, and he was a part of it. And listen, he was probably in the NBA about 15 years by then. He's got a wife. He's got two children at home. If anybody wanted to ride off in the sunset and call it a day, I don't think we could judge him, because he's won MVPs, he's won championships in other areas and all this stuff. And so, but he came back, and he went through preseason, he went through training camp, and then through preseason, and then through the regular season, and then through the playoffs with the best players in the world. And I don't think he came back for a ring or a trophy. I don't think that's what he came back for. I think he came back because once they won the championship in Golden State, by the way, the confetti was flying, and he's running around looking to hug anybody that he can. And that feeling is unbelievable. I don't know it. I haven't won an NBA championship, but I'm watching him. I wanted to hug him, right? So, and so it's amazing what it does. The 30 minutes or 45 minutes after such an amazing accomplishment, after you put so much effort into it, holy smokes, that feeling is something else. And so guess what? You want to come back and have that again. And he did, and they lost, right? And he's since moved on from Cleveland, and God bless him, he's out there in L.A., but...
Wait, they won.
Huh?
They won.
They did. They won, but he came back the year after that.
Oh, okay.
And I think he wanted to come back for that feeling, that confetti, that 45 minutes after the final buzzer sounds, because it does something to you. It's an amazing feeling, and once it's over, you want more. And listen, if I was going to give my shot today, that's what it would be about. I think many of us, myself included back in the day, have done good, tried hard, did our best. But guess what? We were just here, right? We weren't the man or the woman. We were just here. And there were people that we reported to, and that's just the way it was. I was going to do my best now. I wasn't like slacking, but that's just where I was at. And I think we tend to just be okay with that. But man, oh man, it's such a big world out there, and there's so many things to accomplish. And some of the things that you've accomplished are amazing, and we don't take stock in it. And man, if you can set yourself a goal and accomplish it, and then set yourself another goal and accomplish it, and then set yourself another goal and accomplish it, all of a sudden you wake up hoping that, like, I just get lucky today. Or I hope the sun shines on me today, or maybe today's my day. Like, I get all that, but man, just imagine waking up knowing that if you want something bad enough, you'll get it. Yeah. There's nothing that can stop you. And I believe that setting goals 3 months, 6 months, 9 months, yeah, they're going to be hard. Yeah, they're going to take action items to be able to get there. But you accomplish it, and then you want more. Then you accomplish it, then you accomplish it, and then you want more. Then you have another accomplishment, and you want more. And all of a sudden, you start to wake up and say, you know what? It's time. Yeah. It's time to go after something. And I know that if I put my mind to it, I can get to it. That's different than just hoping that the boss chooses me for a promotion. I hope I did what And listen, we all
I hope I
have
lose 20 pounds. This
we all
year.
have felt that. But I believe setting the shorter term goals help you reach a potential that even you didn't think you can accomplish.
Yeah.
And now you're talking about real power. And now you're talking about not just being this middle level person. You're talking about pushing that cat to run the business. And then you get to experience that. And then they open up another store and they say, you are going to go run that store. And all of a sudden you went from this middle whatever to now it's on you. You have to make the schedule. You got to plan the inspiration. You got to make sure the parties are good. You got to make sure the people are good. And now there's a purpose in life that you didn't realize that you could stretch, get to. And I'm telling you, if you set those goals in 3, 6, where you can touch it, and even if you fail at one, you get a chance to do it again. Now you start to get some wins, and those 9 or 10 accomplishments turn into 29 or 30 accomplishments. And now you wake up knowing, I got this.
Yeah. And it's funny you say that about LeBron James, because the first thing I think about when he won the championship is how he started crying, and he said, man, this feeling right here
It's unbelievable.
is unbelievable. And he was just like crying because of all the fans and the love he got. And he said he did it for, Ohio, and he did it for Cleveland. And his purpose was so big that that's all that mattered to him, and he drove to it, and he ended up winning it because of that purpose. And you're right, that's all he came back for. And if you watch that video, maybe we'll play it in the background for you here, but if you watch that video, he was tearing not because of the ring or not because of the championship. He was tearing because he came for a purpose to win it for Cleveland, and he did it.
And before you go, I want to go back and because listen, everything is not roses, right? Let's talk about his journey to get to that moment.
Mm-hmm.
He got drafted by Cleveland, hometown.
Yeah.
They went to the finals. They got beat, but man, that's pretty exciting. And then things happened, and all of a sudden he wasn't in Cleveland anymore. And he went to Miami and did his thing. And then guess what happened? He came back to Cleveland, and then he won the championship. So this was not like knife through butter. Like, this was hard. There were media killed him. People were burning his jersey in the streets of Cleveland. Like, that's real stuff. Yeah. But I tell you, man, when you really have goals and you set them and you share them and people know about them, because everybody knew what LeBron James' goals were, he put it out there for the whole world.
Yep.
And guess what?
He wanted to win it for Cleveland.
He did, and he came back and put whatever bygones aside. And what did he do? He won it. The first ever in Cleveland history. Man, is that impressive.
Yeah. And also to relate back to what you're saying, so just from the companies that I've interacted with, the big companies, the Fortune 500s, they're breaking down their goals into quarters, and I think that's very effective. One thing that I'm going to change this year for my goals, instead of setting a yearly goal, I'm going to break it down into a quarterly goal. That way you could hit those accomplishments short and sweet. And then you could say, okay, I hit the first quarter goals. What's the second quarter goals? And what's the third quarter goals? So I'd say the biggest advice I have for you is set your goals for the first quarter. January, February, March. What are you going to do the first 3 months of the year? Set the goals there. Maybe you set an end goal at the end of the year, but you have checkpoints every single quarter. And then you check up on those checkpoints to see if you're hitting them. And guess what? If you're not hitting them, revamp, reevaluate, and remake your goals. You could set them back a little, but as long as you're staying focused and you have a direction and a compass in the life for the way you're going, that's all that matters. The biggest thing is not just dropping them and say, oh, I didn't hit my first quarter goals. It's all over. Let me dump it all out there. I'm never going to look at my goals again. That's the biggest mistake you can make. So I think it's very effective to break down your goals in quarters. So I would set your goal for the year and then break it down into 4 checkpoints for the 4 quarters of the year. And ask yourself, where do you got to be at the first checkpoint? Where do you got to be at the second? Where you got to be at the third? Where you got to be at the fourth? We're going to set some goals.
No doubt.
We're going to set some ShotCast goals.
We are.
How many episodes are we going to make the first quarter? How many episodes the second quarter? How many episodes the third quarter?
Might even be a good episode for us.
How many episodes the fourth quarter? And also, what else are we going to do with the ShotCast, right? So that's just one area of opportunity for us to hit, but there's going to be a lot more goals that we're going to set and break them down into quarters. So a lot of good stuff in the ShotCast. I think it's time for our shots, Lang. I'm going to let you go first on your shot. I have a great shot for you guys. I'm going to save it for last.
So listen, I think that, and I don't mean to belabor the point, but at the end of the day, we can walk through life and try to accomplish things ourselves. And And okay, I bet you'll accomplish some things and you'll fail at some things, and people tell you it's okay to fail, so you'll justify it, and that's good. But at the end of the day, involving others in your journey is the most important thing that I believe exists on this earth, because the amount of good that you can do, not only for yourself, selfishly, about your goals, but, man, if you share with somebody else and put your goals out there and they help you achieve those goals, what do you think that's going to do for somebody else? And they're going to look at you and say, man, I knew you when you were just 9 years old and nobody paid any mind to you at all. And look where you're at, and I helped you with that. So what's that going to do? That is going to take them to take account of their own goals and what they want to accomplish, and they might even just share that with you. And now you, besides what you're working for yourself, now you have somebody else that you care about that you get a chance to help. And so I get it, man. I get it that people don't share a lot because people are close to the vest and they don't. Man, find something that you desire. I don't care. Maybe you like fish. You like fish? No. So maybe there's some people that like fish, like the barracudas or the piranhas. And you know what? Every day you walk in, you put your key in the door, you open up the door, and there's like a wall or like, I don't know, some picture that your mom gave you or whatever that you don't really like. Wouldn't it be cool if every day you open up that door and there was a 60-gallon fish tank that you embedded in the wall and it's got piranhas and lights and whatever? Just imagine how that is. If you like that kind of stuff, every time you open it up, that's what you see. That's not going to be cheap. Yes, I don't even know how big 60 gallons is, but that's what I hear people have. And the piranhas and the whatever, barracudas or whatever. Like, that's going to be expensive. You're going to have to put a goal for that. I'm going to need $3,000 to be able to get this done. How can I justify spending $3,000 when I have this and I have this? Well, guess what? If you put it as a goal and you share it, then you'll figure out a way to get an extra widget or two or save some money or whatever it is, so that by the end of the first quarter, you'll have this $3,000 sitting aside. You'll have somebody come in and cut out the wall. You'll put the thing in there, and then you get every day you open up and boom, there's those barracudas with their ugly faces and their teeth and whatever it is every time. Now, I don't know if that's your thing. It's not my thing. I don't know why I brought up fish and barracudas, but yet it doesn't matter what it is. It just matters that it is. There's something there that you are fighting for and you're willing to share with somebody else, even if you don't hit it. And that sharing will get you to do more. It'll get people to hold you accountable. And man, oh man, the gloves are off at that point.
That's actually the step ladders I was talking about. You know, if the dream was, or the end of the year, the end of the year goal was to have a fish tank, you break it down into quarters. The first quarter you want to save, let's say, $1,000. The second quarter, $2,000. The third quarter, $3,000. And the fourth quarter you want to get somebody to cut out your wall, and you want to. So what he's saying is right. If you break it down into quarters, by the end of the year you'll have that fish tank some way, somehow, because it's on the top of your mind and you're thinking about it. Well, my shot's going to be for you as. And this is on another book that I read called Atomic Habits that you gave me.
Love that.
And this shot's going to be about systems. This book speaks very loudly about creating systems and not goals. And it says that what separates the winners and the losers is the winners have systems to back their goals and the losers don't. So, for example, instead of setting a goal, set a system. Okay, and I'll give you a couple examples that I'm setting systems for in my life in this year for some goals I accomplished. I wanted to see my family. That was one of my goals. I live with my wife. I work a lot. I work out. I have the Acez motivation that I'm working on. I don't have a lot of free time. I wanted to make sure I see my family all year. So I set a system. The system that I made was I made it loud and clear to my whole family. Every single Sunday, I'm bringing breakfast to my parents' house. We're all going to meet here and eat breakfast. That was a system and a ritual that I set. And guess what? For the whole goddamn year, every single Sunday I've been going to my parents' house to eat breakfast. I don't have to think about it anymore. And I've been seeing them every single Sunday because now it's a system and a ritual.
Good for you.
That's one example. Another system would be if you want to drink a lot of water, which I wanted to do, I got a gallon of water, I got a marker, and I marked it. 8 a.m., 9 a.m., 10 a.m., 11 a.m., 12, you know? And I put it there and I fill it up every single morning and my team holds me accountable to that. Hey, you're not at 12 o'clock yet. It's almost 12. Drink up. I start drinking it. That's a system that I made to drink more water. So I would say whatever your goal is out there in life, what kind of system could you create to get the thought process out of the goal and to just automatically do that every single day? Create a system for every single goal. So that way you're not thinking about the goal no more. Oh, I have to lose 20 pounds. It's not about losing 20 pounds no more. It's about the system that you made to meal prep every single day. It's about the system you made to pay for a personal trainer. Those are two systems that you made that are going to make you lose weight automatically without thinking about losing the 20 pounds anymore. So it's about systems. It's not about goals. So I would say for you, write down your goals that you have. And for every single goal, create a system to back that goal. Remove the thought process out of it. The system becomes automatic and you start accomplishing your goals. So focus on the systems, not on your goals.
That's great.
That's my shot.
It's good stuff, man. Listen, we're coming to an important time of our lives. I don't know, as the years tick on, like we're ending a decade. Flat out, we're ending a decade. And guess what? They're measured in decades.
Yeah.
The 80s, the 90s, the 2000s. Well, guess what? We're about to enter another decade, and you only get so many of them. So, man, as important it is to set goals all the time, and I agree with you 100%, I don't want to shy away from, man, we're about to jump in the 2020s, man. It's a real deal, and you got a chance to set your next decade the way every way you want it. And so, listen, don't do it like a lamb, man. Do it like a lion and get out there and share some things and let it be known what you want to accomplish and just watch it happen.
What's the worst case scenario? What is the worst case scenario? You set a goal this high. The worst case scenario is you fall this low. It's better than setting nothing and staying down here.
No doubt.
That's what you have to realize. And 2020, I'm telling you, is going to be a fucking massive year. It is.
I love it.
It's a fucking year. It is a year. It's ShotCast episode 10. Set your goals this fucking year. Make it the best fucking year of your life. New decade, 2020. ShotCast is coming in fucking heavy next year.
It's been more
Cheers
F-bombs
to you.
dropped in this last 30 seconds
Oh,
of
yeah.
the entire podcast.
The pump is there.
Peace and love.